Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Welcome back, welcome if you are new. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I thought I would do a little tutorial as a follow-up to my last video. At the end of my vlog, I kind of showed me working on making some collage fodder with handmade stamps. And I absolutely love handmade stamps because while buying pre-made stamps are great, one, it can get expensive to buy pre-made stamps, and two, I don't know, there's just something about using your own ideas and things that you love in your artwork that just sparks so much joy and inspiration for me. So I wanted to show how I go about making stamps for myself. There are two types of stamps that I make. I do make foam stamps. This is just out of kids foam. And then another type of stamp that I make for myself are carved stamps. Today I want to show you guys specifically how I make my foam stamps. I will definitely show you how I make carved stamps, but I think I'm going to do that in a different video only because I don't want this video to get super long and I have limited time this morning to film this video. So stay tuned for the carved stamps. So today, let's talk about foam stamps. They are so easy to make. I literally have tons and tons of them. You can make words, shapes, animals, pretty much anything that comes to mind that you think that you could use in your art, you can do it. Today I'm going to show you how to do letters because letters can be kind of tricky. You have to put them backwards. I learned that the hard way, but without further ado, let's get started making some of these awesome foam stamps. So for materials, I want to preface this with try to use what you have. Don't go out and buy a bunch of stuff. Maybe look at other tutorials in addition to mine. This is just how I make them. I try to make it very simple, but I will go through everything that I use and how I make them. So what I use is, of course, I use kids craft foam. I keep all of my scraps because I never know when I'm going to make something very small. So this is just normal craft foam. It's very cheap at craft stores. I did get one with a sticker back for us to try together today. I've never tried that, but I want to try that with you today to see if that makes it easier and a spot where you don't have to use glue. But I normally use glue in mine, and the glue that I use is just regular tacky glue. I know they're selling this at the dollar store now, which is awesome. You're also going to need a marker of some sort. I just use a permanent marker. You're also going to need a nice pair of scissors, and you're going to need cardboard of some type. It does need to be pretty sturdy cardboard. I just use cardboard left over from packaging. I keep a whole little stash whenever we get stuff in the mail and the cardboard feels pretty sturdy and nice. I just tuck it away and save it for later. So this is what you're going to need to make your stamps. As far as to make your collage fodder, you will need a paintbrush that you don't really care about that much, a piece of paper to clean your stamps on. It could be printer paper, it could be newspaper, it could be brown paper bags, pretty much anything, just some surface to clean off your stamps. And I like to use painted papers to put my stamps on and then cut out. But use what you have, use what feels inspiring to you. So before we get to the cutting, gluing, and painting portions, what I like to do is I like to kind of think about what shapes do I want. So I like to get out my sketchbook and kind of brainstorm some possible shapes for stamps. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I have brainstormed a few ideas of some possible stamps I want to make. These are some shapes that I don't have that I know that I draw frequently. If you need more ideas, I suggest maybe looking through some art books you have, looking on Instagram or Pinterest. I just went through some old artwork that I had and kind of looked at things that I was drawing over and over. So a few things that I definitely think that I'm going to do is definitely these little bears with little face cutouts that I can draw in. Same with the bunny one. I don't have any flowers, which I'm surprised I haven't made any flower stamps yet. So I'm definitely going to make those flowers. I do have some ghosts already, but the bottom is different than this one. Can I find my ghost stamps? Doop, doop, doop. Here's one. So this one is different. So I probably will make this. I love these ghost stamps. They turn out really cute. Let's see. I don't know if I want to do the fishbowl or not. I do draw fish environments quite frequently, but I don't really know if I want to do a fishbowl. I think I'm going to start with these ones. I think that's a good start. So I'm going to put this off to the side. Oh, and I said we're going to do a word. What word should we do? Let's do happy. Okay, so we're going to do that one also. So I'm just going to put this off to the side as a reference for myself of what I'm doing. And I'm probably going to need something that's going to show up on that black foam that I have. So I'm just going to grab a little chalk pencil here. All right, so I have my foam. And a fun thing to do is do multiples of whatever it is you want to make. Do them in different sizes. My cat, I don't know, I brought this home and they wanted to chew on it like crazy. I don't understand why, but they did. So that's what that is. All right, so this little bear guy. So you're just going to take your marker. Don't think about it too much and just start drawing whatever it is that you were inspired to make. So I've got this little guy. And then let's make another size. And on some of these small ones, you might need smaller scissors to cut it out. Just know that in advance. Then I've got that bunny. I'm going to make one without the face cut out. And I think I'm going to make a really big one. And if your lines are messy and they overlap and all of that, it really doesn't matter. You just need a guideline. Okay, so we've got that one, and we need our little ghosties. I don't really like this one, but that's okay. Even when I do make shapes that I don't necessarily like, I just go with it because it might look great as a stamp later. Okay, so we've got those ghosts. Oh, and then we have our flowers. I think we're going to do the flowers on the sticky back paper. We'll try that out. So I've got flowers like this. And I've got flowers like this. I cannot believe I haven't made flower stamps at this point. Okay. Then I have another little bear-like character. I'm gonna make this one more oval. And then I have the word happy. So how big do I want this? And I recommend making your letters kind of spaced out so you have room to cut around them. Okay, now I have all of my ideas drawn out. Now it is time to cut. I am going to put you in speed while I cut everything out. Okay, I have all of my stamps cut out, minus the whole area that needs to be cut out, and I don't have my words cut out. I wanted to kind of go with you guys how I did those. So to cut out middles or shapes that you want inside, I usually switch to a smaller scissor, and I just poke through like that. Be careful on the other side. Please do not poke your fingers. I'm sure you could do this with your bigger scissors also. I just find it a lot easier to do with little scissors. So you're just going to go through and do this to all of your pieces that have spaces that need to be cut out. Now, as far as the words, the way that I do this is I just write the word like normal. I then just cut around my letters. If you want them more squared or rounded, I prefer rounded. And I just take my scissors and cut around it. Sometimes it's easier to disattach it from the rest of your foam, just to make it easier to maneuver with your scissors. Now thankfully, the H, the A, and the Y, you don't have to worry about proper direction of it, but you're definitely going to have to worry about that with your P's. So how I do this, just continue to cut out all of your pieces. It's up to you if you want to cut out the centers. I think I'm going to keep mine full in the centers for all of my letters. So I just give myself a little border around my letters. If you find it easier to just draw the actual shape, go ahead and do that. I feel pretty comfortable just cutting around the letters that I've made. Now I'm going to show you a really easy trick to always make sure your letters are going the correct way for your stamps. I'm going to finish cutting out the centers of my stamps, and then I will meet you back here and we will start gluing these beauties to our cardboard. I have all of my pieces cut out, including the little centers that I wanted removed. So now it has come time to glue these to our substrate. And I am going to use cardboard from some glasses that I bought from IKEA. It's pretty sturdy cardboard, but it's also thin enough to cut very easily. I think I'm going to first start with the ones with the peel back sticker. One thing that I'm also going to probably use is some sort of pencil that kind of helped the last time that I made these to kind of figure out where I want my cut lines to be. So I'm hoping these work out really nice. The foam with the sticky back is not that much more expensive than the one without the sticky back. Ooh, it's actually really sticky, which is nice. Kind of got that a little too close to the edge, but that's okay. I am just going to go ahead and get the rest of these stuck on here. Just be mindful when you're sticking them on where you want to cut these apart. So I like to just do this as a visual reminder that I do need to cut these apart. Now that I have all of these on here, I am just going to simply cut them apart with my scissors. And voila, all of the flower cutouts that I had are done and ready to use. I do love the ease of the sticky back. I do think that I will switch to the sticky back foam from now on after I use up all of my regular foam. So moving on to how I attach these ones to my cardboard and the little trick to make sure that your letters are always in the right direction. So I am going to take some more cardboard and you're going to take your letters and you're first going to start by putting your word backwards. So I'm going to put the H at the back, then my A, and then my P, and my Y. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to flip them over. And this is how you will glue them to your board so that it shows it in the right way. Now, this part is kind of messy without the sticker ones. This is why I think that I am going to officially move to using just these stickers. You also have to wait for them to dry. I like the ease of, as soon as they're stuck on here, I can go ahead and play with them right away. As were these, you're going to have to wait a little while for them to dry. So you're going to take all of your pieces, if you don't have the sticky back ones, and you're going to individually glue everything. Try to cover a good amount of your surface, this way that it's all the little corners and everything like that. Get a nice amount of glue stuck on there. I sometimes use my finger to spread that glue around. But I am going to continue on and glue all of these onto my cardboard. I have all of my pieces glued to cardboard. I do need to let them dry still, but I did want to share a little trick that I have been doing. I don't know if it's really necessary, but I have been making sure that I have a surface that I don't mind if it gets dirty, or put down a piece of protective paper. And I've been taking my stamps while the glue is still wet, and I put them face down like this. And then I grab a book and I put that on top, and then I put something heavy on top. You could stack more books, you could put a weight on top, anything that you have that's going to really put pressure on those stamps for a couple of hours. I do let mine dry for at least an hour or two before I cut them up. So I'm going to clean up my work area, let these dry, and then we will be back and I will show you guys how I paint them and use them. Now that our stamps are made, now we can move on to the fun part of actually using our stamps. So what I like to do is I like to use cheap acrylic paint with my foam stamps, but that doesn't mean you only have to use cheap acrylic paint with your foam stamps. Any acrylic paint would work. I have not tested with wash, watercolors, or oil paint. I'm not really familiar with oil paint at all. But another thing I sometimes use if I'm not using cheaper acrylic paint is just a regular ink pad. Now, I would not use the acrylic paint and then while your stamp is still wet, then use it on your ink pad because I have a feeling you're going to kind of ruin your ink pad. So I would choose which medium you're going to use. Of course, once your paint is completely dry on your stamp, you can then go ahead and use it on your ink pad. I just wouldn't use them on the same stamp in your same creative session. So I will show you both. So I personally like to start with a stack of painted papers because I always have those on hand. I do have my brush that I'm not super precious about, and I do have a piece of paper to clean my stamps off on. So to get started, just pick a couple of your favorite colors. I chose this Ocean Breeze from Craft Smart. And let's start with these flowers. And I'm simply just going to paint the flower. You don't have to do a super thick coat, just something that puts a nice even layer on there. And then just put it down on your paper. And I like to more press in the middle than on my edges because it is cardboard and it might kind of bend around it. I sometimes will have little missing spots, but I'll just go back with my paintbrush. Not a big deal. And then when I'm ready to clean this, I just stamp it a few times on my cleaning paper. And then it's ready to go. I'm not really worried about the paint around the outside. It's going to dry and not really bother anything in the future. Not sure if these are dry enough yet. I'm a little hesitant to use these ones. So I think I'm going to hold off on using the ones that we glued. So let's do a couple more of the flowers that we know for sure are dry because they had that sticker back. And the reason I use a brush that I'm not precious about when I'm making these is because I tend to not clean my brush between colors while I'm doing this, because this is something I like to do fairly quickly. So I will line my colors up in almost a color wheel fashion so that I know that they will blend nicely with each other. Because I love like that little ombre effect that you get. Let's do one more. There we go. And then I will clean. And I will use my cleaner papers for other things, maybe as the start of a background, or if I really like these ghost prints, I might cut that out and use it as collage in something. Let me close up these paints and let's try out what it looks like with the ink pad. So I've got my ink pad here and let's do this flower. Now this is going to be kind of challenging to see if my ink is loaded up on here because the ink is black and my foam is black. But let's see how well we did. Make sure it's a flat surface. It doesn't feel very flat under there. There we go. So as you can see, you can use ink or you can use acrylic paint. I prefer the acrylic paint because I like the variety of colors and I like the inexpensiveness of getting that wide range of colors. But if you have tons of ink pads, have at it. Whatever gives you inspiration, go with that. So you might be asking, what am I going to do with all of these stamps? A few ideas that I have are, of course, you can make tons and tons of collage fodder, which I have a lot here. You can just put it on different colored papers and cut around them to then glue into mixed media pieces, such as this. I just did a background and I took some of my cutouts and glued them onto the page to start making a painting here. Another thing that you can do that I am very excited to try is to take a background that you want to turn into a piece of art. So let's say I wanted to turn this into a piece of art. You can then take whichever stamp that you wanted to use. I want to use a cloud, so I'm pulling out my cloud stamp. And I want white clouds, so let's get some white paint. All right, and then I'm going to put my paint on here. And I'm going to touch this up. And my idea is to then go back in and somehow incorporate these clouds into my piece of art. So maybe I'll add faces or bodies to whatever stamped elements I have. So for example, say I wanted these clouds to have legs. I could then go in and draw some little legs. Maybe I'll give them little striped socks. And I could make a whole piece of art with the stamps then. Or you could add to your stamps and then cut this whole little piece out and use that as a collage piece for another piece of work. So I hope this sparks a lot of inspiration for you. I absolutely am obsessed with the possibilities of all of the different stamps and the options. Once I start making them, I feel like it's very hard to stop making them. So I definitely recommend making a lot in one session so that you can have an amazing play session when you sit down again to actually use them. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope that you have a lot of fun. I would love to see what you make. Please tag me on Instagram. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.